Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Drive Pink Dialogue. The Inter Miami CF Montreal game has just ended, and the Herons get a 4-2 victory, something they had to have. Absolutely had to have. We talked about in the pregame show. I think the final word on every single talking point was they have to win tonight. They go out and do it. Saur, my friend, my co host, how are you feeling after Inter Miami 4-2 victory?
We won. We won by a big scoreline. You predicted the lineup perfectly, and I'll be honest, I think I jinxed you because right before this, while I was on with Messi and Co, I said you got the lineup and the score prediction right because you predicted
Yeah, I
4-1.
know.
So
I know.
I think I jinxed you with that. But overall, a lot of positives to take from here. You build the foundation brick by brick. This is just the second brick that we've added. No overreaction. I think Inter Miami played against the team that was in front of them. We had to do a job. We did the job very professionally, and we got the result. That's all that matters. Build the confidence. 2 goals for Suarez, 2 goals for Messi, 3 goal contributions for Messi in the last 2 games. Frey had a really good game. Segovia was good. Redondo was good. I thought everyone was playing really well. But again, this is just one step of 1,000 that we need to take to get back to where we are. Uh, and availability, but we'll see.
Yes. Inter Miami gets the 4-2 victory. Messi has, I thought, a really, really nice game. Suarez had what I would consider a very nice finish to the game. He had the big moments. I think you were a little bit more positive on his overall performance than I was, but it's about goal contributions for him, and he got them. So,
Yeah, I don't think I was overly positive. I think he had some good moments that made me think, okay, he's doing a few things that he hasn't done recently. And honestly, the bar was so low that I was just trying to look for any positives that he would bring in his performance. So even before the 2 goals that he scored, I thought he had a couple of good movements here and there where I was like, if he continues to build on these, I can see something happening here. And then he got the 2 goals that were absolutely crucial and will do a world of good for his confidence. So um, I think he had a really positive performance, net positive performance. So all's well for Suarez, and no rant from me this time around.
yeah, certainly net positive. Um, but for me, I still there was a lot in that first half, and really the first like 70 minutes that I didn't love from him. But that's okay because that's not the only story of the game. Messi, I thought looked fantastic. This was, in my opinion, his best 90-minute performance in quite some time. And we talked about can he translate that free kick goal in the 87th minute against Philadelphia on Saturday into sort of a renaissance for his season. And if that's what was going to happen, this is what it looked like. I do want to preface this with two sort of comments. First, this is the worst team in the Eastern Conference, and they aren't good at scoring goals. And if Inter Miami had put up 4 in the first 30 minutes and sort of sat the rest of the game away, I would have felt much better about this game. But I do think that there was a couple shots where Montreal could have made it a 1-1 game, and then we would have been talking about something totally different. That's not how it worked out, and credit to the boys for making it happen. So it's not like a negative. I just want to make sure I preface that. And then the other thing I want to say is Inter Miami did this against the New York Red Bulls. They beat them 4-1, and it didn't change the sort of overlay of the season. So while this was nice, this was good, this is what had to happen. You had to do this. And they did it, and they deserve credit for that. I still need to see more from them against Columbus. But I am ready to make some positive affirmations about them against Columbus if they have a really nice showing about being back and being in a good spot and all that stuff. So they had to do it, step in the right direction, but like this is what you had to do, and you did it. So congratulations for that.
As I said, bare minimum was beating this Montreal side. They had a few dangerous moments that we weathered the storm through, and then we had a really good day in front of goal. 4 goals after a long while. It's good to get our striker scoring, our main man scoring. Um, But this is just the start, man. You said we're back. I mean, when we talk about are we back, I don't think we are. Not by any means. We're quite far away from being our true selves. That being said, you have to build it step by step. This was one performance out of, I think, the next 10 performances that we need to put in. Um, some really good positives, but keep all of that aside. I think for me, this game is super important for building the confidence of this team. Our confidence has been completely shot over the last few games to the point where you almost feel like this team doesn't know what they're doing on the pitch. We feel clueless at times. Today, it didn't feel that way. It felt like they knew what they wanted to do, especially in the midfield. I thought we looked really good, solid for large parts. Busquets had a really fun, really good game. Segovia, you mentioned, was connecting really well with Messi, and he's such a boss in the midfield when he's just flowing, man. You just allow him to do his thing, and he just takes the ball, does his thing, has a couple of nice back flicks from his back heel, and then just commands the middle so well. And I think overall that benefited Redondo because he could just do the basics right. He didn't need to be the main man in the middle, and Segovia was doing that. And then obviously Messi being Messi. So some good stuff happening, some positive stuff happening. But this is the confidence that you need to take into the Columbus game. And you need to be able to not just replicate what you did tonight, but exponentially improve upon what you did tonight because Columbus is not going to be that much of a pushover. I thought Montreal's man marking actually worked a lot in Inter Miami's favor because their defense would leave porous holes that a movement from Segovia, Suarez, Messi could easily exploit. Sergio
Allende.
Busquets was having the best time in the middle with the person. I don't know who was marking him, but he was just like, "Oh yeah, you come press me. I'm going to turn around and pass the ball forward. It's easy. This is football." And he was just having the best time on the pitch. So I like that. I think it worked in our favor. This was the perfect opponent to have the get back game. But Columbus is not going to be that. Columbus is not going to be a pushover. They're going to have more specific tactics that you're going to have to counter. So, temper your expectations. Very positive overall. Very happy with the result. Got the win when honestly we couldn't. We could have lost this game as well very easily. So happy that we won this game. But a lot to build on. A lot to build on.
This was the get right game, they did what they had to do to get right. Right, like Suarez got his
Yeah,
confidence.
exactly.
Messi looked like super, like he looked like as good as he's ever looked at Inter Miami. That first goal they showed at halftime. I saw a replay from behind. It is just so impressive.
It's a basketball
Um,
goal, by the way. It's a basketball
with the
play.
pick and roll, yeah,
Yeah, it was
with
so
Busquets,
fun to watch. That's what I was talking about. Busquets was like, "Yeah, you wanna
yeah.
try your man marketing? I'm going to man mark you,"
To
and it was
playing man
just so good.
defense, watch us break
Yeah.
it with the pick and roll. That's funny.
Oh man, that was so funny.
No, but the actual shot too, like when you see the angle from behind, you can see the sort of angle and
Yeah, yeah,
curve
yeah,
on the ball that Messi
absolutely.
gets to put it on the side post and in. It's just he does things that are just crazy. Um, and then Suarez, he gets the goals. The first one, there would have been moments over the past couple of weeks where I think he tries to take that first time and he would have flubbed it, and he has flubbed it. And there was a great moment, I think, against Orlando City where he's at the top of the box and Allende whips a ball into him, and he tries to hit it first time and he hits it, 20 yards wide. This time he takes the first touch. He has plenty of time. Instead of trying to be the superhero, he just takes the first touch and then puts in the back of the net. And then the confidence from there, the 1-2s with Messi, it all came after that. But just like Messi's goal, I thought sparked the team at the end of last game. I think Suarez's goal really sparked the offense in this game because all of a sudden you finish with a Suarez goal with a Messi assist, a Suarez goal, and then a Messi goal with a Suarez assist in the final 20 minutes of this game, and it's a happy days, right? This is what they were doing to everyone last year, and so if they can repeat this again, I think we're going to be for a good summer, right? Um,
Yeah,
Tadeo Allende, he was, I thought, in the first 60 minutes, really a big part of pushing the ball high up the field on that right side. Him and Ian Frey, I thought, did a lot to open up your verticality, but also from the right side of the pitch. And they took advantage of it in a way that they haven't always. Messi's putting that ball in behind to Ian Frey, whether it was Aviles or Maxi Falcone putting the ball over the top to Ian Frey. correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost felt like Ian Frey had way more freedom to get forward than Jordi Alba on the left. Um, and you saw like a lot of good, like open, like the defense was opening up because of it. That's always been the dream. It's just now let's get it on the left side too. But and so I thought that was really cool. Ian Frey, I thought had a really nice game. Just
Yeah,
being dangerous.
I saw a couple of comments in the chat saying he didn't have a good game. I thought he looked really good today. He was
I did
back
too.
to his normal self, both in terms of offensive contributions, but defensively as well. He looked solid. Again, I think the man marking worked really well in our favor, left a lot of space for some of these players to just run into. And you mentioned a couple of instances where he was just so free in the middle and he could just run into it. Noah Allen had it on a couple of occasions on the other side as well. I thought there was some good movement from our team, from our fullback especially. So liked it, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. You know who else I thought had a really saucy game, although maybe he should have done better on that first goal for Montreal. David Martinez, man, he
Oh my
had
god, he
some
was so
really
good.
saucy
He
moments.
was so good. He had a couple of balls straight into the middle. I was like, oh my god, I missed this. I've really missed this because he just adds such a nice spark in that back line. And like, oof, there's, as you said, there's some sauce there. So really
Uh,
enjoyed it.
okay, let's stop and take stock of what's going on. This is the raw reaction, which means we're just going off vibes and how we felt the game went, but also how you guys felt the game went. So please get in the comment section and tell us, and let's talk about it because I think that's what makes this so much fun is interacting with you guys. Big picture. Now let's keep talking about players because I think that's more fun because everyone had a good nice performance today. Telasco Segovia carried it through. He had a really nice final 30 minutes against Philadelphia, earns the start in this game, and carries it through with another nice performance. He was playing behind Messi, not like right behind him, but on different levels of the of sort of the formation. And that's, I think, the secret to getting the most out of him. If you have him playing sort of adjacent to Messi, they just run into each other's areas and it becomes too chaotic and too clogged up. This game, I thought he was really good.
It's so simple. Put him in the middle and he's going to enjoy the game there. He's going to dictate the play there. He's going to get on the ball, pass the ball around, spread it around. It's just so easy. And on the left, he just gets completely lost, not because he doesn't know what he's doing, but because he's not fit for that left wing role because he's then running away from the ball. Segovia is a player who loves to play with the ball, so let him do that. And you see it, and he absolutely dominated the midfield for large parts of the game. I liked it. Again, might be an overreaction. I need to rewatch, but from what I saw, I thought he was doing really well, combining with a lot of the players in and around, and took up some really good spaces to allow some of the other players to then move around and get into other spaces to then create goal threatening opportunities. I thought Segovia was very, very good today.
Now, I want to point out something because I believe it was Anton on Saturday night asked me, what would it look like when Inter Miami is starting to get back in terms of being in good form? And I said, it looks like a good, powerful offense running through Messi. And that's what we saw tonight. And I do think this is what it needs to look like when it's going to be right. This is ultimately how it's going to look. And so that's why I wanted to preface this by saying it's just Montreal, but this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what it should look like against everyone. Can they carry it over? Is it because Suarez had the ability to run past his man and was able to outsmart his man when they were trying to come out with him? Was it that Allende was able to beat his man on the vertically? Or was it that this team has started to figure it out and Suarez just needed a couple games to get back into rhythm? There was a moment in the first half where Ian Frey dribbles down the right side and then he kind of gets pushed towards the baseline and then he pops a little pass back to Suarez and he just hits it with his heel as if he was ever going to score that way. And I was just like, this was one of these moments where I'm like, come on, you're in bad form. You can't be doing stuff like that. You're never going to pull that off. And then to contrast that, I thought with his first goal, where he does take the extra touch. I just think this is so important because a return to the basics may be exactly what he needs. Just play within himself. Don't try and be a superstar. Take the extra touch because you will find yourself in spaces to operate. And that's what it felt like he did for the last 25 minutes. 25 minutes. And even earlier in this game, he wasn't doing that. and I think maybe that's the key to him getting back.
Sometimes you just got to stick to the basics and get back to what football's about. That's pass properly to the person you want to pass to, and then wait for the ball to come to you and shoot it in the back of the net. I think he tries to overcomplicate it a little bit by getting involved in the middle, trying to assist, trying to pass those balls. He tried that again today, by the way. There are a couple of instances where he came back for the ball in that 8 position and then completely binned it off to the opposition. You're like, you just completely ended the chance. There was this one moment, I think, in the 7th to 10th minute where he comes back, gets the ball from Busquets, and instead of going like turning and moving forward, he just passes it back and it goes all the way back to Lujan. I was like, you just killed the entire offense by that one bad pass backwards. So those things he needs to not get that involved in. He just needs to get at the end of the ball when it's coming to him. Don't be involved in the build up. Just do the thing that you're supposed to do on the pitch. That's score the goals. And that's how you're going to build your confidence. And then he got 2 goals doing exactly that. So hopefully this is all the confidence that he needs to now go up and put 5 against Columbus, right?
No, like I do think this may just be it. If Messi and Suarez can be this, Inter Miami is going to be great. And if they're not going to be this, Inter Miami is going to be like the team we've seen for a long time. And I really like Segovia as a piece. I like Allende as a piece. I'm sure some people will think he didn't have a nice game because he didn't finish on 1 or 2 chances, but I thought he had an impactful role in this game. But like it's going to be Suarez and Messi, and if they can be this, it would be awesome. Now I understand, 4 goal contributions and 2 goals and 2 assists each is like a lot to ask for anybody. Like I get
Every
that.
game.
Yeah, right. Every game. I get that. But if they can be this in the big moments against the best teams, right? If they were this against Vancouver, we could have been playing for the CONCACAF Champions Cup on Sunday, right? And they weren't this against Vancouver. They were this against Montreal. So let's see it against Columbus, because I do think that will be a step in the right direction. Lots of injuries in this game. Gonzalo Lujan goes out early. And by the way, just want to say, I hope everyone gets healthy soon. Never would we ever wish an injury on anyone. And we hope everything is like very, spasm or a bone bruise or something that will heal quickly and will not have any long-term ramifications. But Lujan goes down in the 10th minute. Jordi Alba goes down in the 24th minute. And then we see Toto Aviles go down sort of right before halftime. He guts it out until halftime because we weren't in a position to make an extra substitution at that point. But are you worried about the health and depth of this team all of a sudden?
We suddenly went from having 6 defenders healthy and ready to run to just, I think, 3, which is not ideal. Our centre back depth is very low.
Not really. We have guys.
Well, centre backs.
Like Ian
We've
Frey
only
can play
got 3
center
centre back. Yeah, true. But then who's going to play? Cello's there as well.
Right.
Okay, yeah, we have guys, but still, it's not ideal.
Maybe you can throw Busquets there. Maybe, and you have Ryan Saylor somewhere on the B team, right? So like, there's options.
There's options. Yeah, there's options. But of course, you want them all healthy and back as soon as possible. So hopefully they recover and it's nothing too difficult.
Yeah. By the way, guys, do us a favor and hit the like button, because Inter Miami needed to win this game, and they do. I think all positive vibes from Inter Miami world tonight. Like, I know we might be, prefacing it or sort of putting context to it, but the truth is this is exactly what they had to do tonight. Obviously, you'd hope they don't give up that last goal in the dying moments, but another set piece goal. But ultimately, like, that's okay when you score 4 goals, and that's what this team is going to be at their best, is a team that can score 4 goals and make it not matter. Noah Allen switches from center back to left center back, gets involved in the offense. He had maybe 1 or 2 bad crosses where he sort of flubbed it, but he's just learned so much from Jordi Alba, and he's just such a good player.
He looks good as a left back, by the way. He looks really good as a left back. I just think really our team needs to get away from popping the ball in the air and just sometimes just drill the ball down on the ground, but that's going to come with time.
But you know who's great at that and does it all the time? Today, Allende.
Oh, today.
No, Tadeo Allende. He just whips it hard,
Yeah,
hard.
yeah,
He
down,
spots
yeah.
you and he says, "Boom, come get this," and just redirect it. We don't have any vertical presence at our striker position, so I agree with you. Putting the ball in the air is not as I think good a strategy as just whipping
Yeah.
it hard and low, and then maybe the goalkeeper spills it or something like that. A defender sort of mishandles it or kicks it for a corner or something to that nature. So that's my I agree with you, but that's a little thing. Redondo. I had a feeling he
I
was going to have a
thought.
good game, man.
I think I don't think he was phenomenal. He didn't stand out, but I thought he had a quietly really good game. And I think a large part of that was who he was playing next to. Busquets bossing the midfield, Segovia doing the 1-2s that he needed. That allowed Redondo to just relax, no attention on him. He could just do his own thing, keep it simple, keep it easy, stick to the basics. Did not have to do much in the midfield because honestly, Montreal doesn't have that big of a midfield presence. So overall, a well-suited game for him. And again, don't want to preface it, but I thought he was very good. I thought he was very solid. He was very solid. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who can't hear you, but you are probably
Sorry.
muted. There you go.
Steven says, I think Suarez could have accomplished the same thing coming on in the 60th minute. He looked poor before the 2 goals. I kind of agree with that. I didn't think he looked good before he scores. But I also think this doesn't preclude him from coming off the bench and being a good player. And he's going to hate hearing that after he scores 2 goals and gets an assist. But like that I don't think that changed anything today, in my opinion.
I mean, if he keeps scoring the way he does, maybe it changes more. But like again, start of something new. I hope a good run of goals for him.
Elmer says Ustadi was phenomenal. Glad he was able to shut people's mouths today. What do you think of Oscar Ustadi?
I think I'll have to rewatch that second goal, but I think he could have done slightly better on it. Better, I think better, definitely. Right before we scored our second goal, he had a really good save. So, overall, a positive performance from him. Still, I don't think as good as we had him at the start of the season. But then again, the whole team isn't as good as we had them at the start of the season. So maybe it takes time to get there.
Yeah, he had a couple saves, which we have seen him go games where he doesn't get a save and the opposition scores 3 goals. And it's like, could you have done better on any of those? Really?
Yeah.
He gets a number of saves that probably would have been goals without him making a nice play. So I do want to give him his flowers. It was a nice performance from Ustadi.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about David Martinez. Let's talk about Maxi Falcone because Lujan has gotten the starts over Falcone of late. And then Lujan goes down and it's Toto Aviles instead of Falcone. And then Toto Aviles goes down and it's David Martinez instead of Falcone. No, I'm sorry. Jordi Alba goes down and so you have to move Noah Allen out. And it's David Martinez instead of Maxi Falcone. But then Toto Aviles does go down and he comes in the second half as the last guy on the bench as a center back. What do you make of what's going on with Maxi Falcone? And also,
Honestly,
did you think he was fine in the second half?
I thought he was fine. I don't think he was bad. Again, I'll have to rewatch to scrutinize who is responsible for the 2 goals that we scored because I missed both of them. But I think he was okay. I don't think he was bad by any means. Or
did he look injured to you? Because I think there were some people thinking he might be injured,
yeah.
and Miami isn't saying that, and that's why he hasn't been playing. He didn't look injured to me, and I was trying to keep an eye on it. It feels like Mascherano doesn't rate him right now.
I don't know. I feel like Mascherano's going through this phase where he just falls in love with a player, then benches him, then falls in love with another player, then benches him. So I think he's doing the rounds with his defenders. We've given him too many options in defense, and Javier Mascherano doesn't know what to do with that many options in defense. So it's a bit all over the place. I hope it's not that because I think Maxi Falcone is one of the better defenders in this team. So hopefully he gets his starting spot soon. But he's definitely better than Lujan. So speaking of, he'll get his opportunity soon.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to start on Saturday?
It's going to be Falcone, David Martinez, center back, and then Allen as left back, right? There's no option, dude. We don't have any other options.
No, you're right. I guess you could. You could play David Martinez as a left back. We've seen that before,
Mm.
but I agree with you. I think that's exactly what it has to be, unless Aviles or Lujan's injury is just
Unless
sort of.
Ian Frey plays centre back and then Chelo Wigan plays right back, that could be the case. But I don't think that's going to be the issue. I think it's going to be
There
fairly.
was a point in the first half where after Jordi Alba goes down, it's Noah Allen, David Martinez, Ian Frey at right back, and Tota Aviles at right side center back. And those were our foremost attacking defenders at the time. And part of me thought, man, Javier Mascherano hates this. I'm sure that.
And then we ended up scoring 4 goals. Well,
and then we ended up
2.
scoring four goals. No, I mean, 4 goals at that point. Because Messi's first goal came after Jordi Alba left the game. Big picture. And we'll get back to the chat in a second. Inter Miami, I think you could rightfully look at these 3 games as one collection, right? And one individual performance, good or bad, probably wasn't as important as having a good 3-game set. And they've had a solid 3-game set. They've done what they've needed to do, I think, to keep things going. And now you have the chance going into this Columbus game to make or break what you've done so far. And again, it's at home against Columbus. Inter Miami has been pretty good against Columbus since Wilfred Nancy got there. In fact, they've been remarkably good against Columbus since Wilfred Nancy got there. If they win 2-0 on Saturday, and they look like they did today, or 3-1 or 4-2 even, are we back?
It's game by game at this point. None of this will matter if you end up losing to Columbus. None of this. The last 3 games, 2 games, what we've done.
Okay, hold
none
on.
of it matters.
Stop. Let's talk about if we win first. And then
Yeah. That's no. That's what I'm getting to. So I think the important thing is to just take it game by game. Yes, this was a good thing. There were a few positives. There are a couple of negatives that I saw as well. We just got to build on from this. You go into that Columbus game with a lot more confidence. If we win, we're still not back. There's a lot that this team needs to figure out. Who their starting 11 is. We don't even know who our preferred starting 11 is right now. How we want to play in offense. We don't have a fixed style of how we want to play in offense. Once you start figuring those questions out, once you allow your offense to flow, become defensively solid, dominate teams. What's the 3-word phrase that you use? It's pretty cool, but I don't remember it right now. Like dominate, vanquish, conquer, something like that. If you start doing that, that's when you say, okay, this Inter Miami team is back. But I think we're far from there. So if we go up, put on a good performance against Columbus, and I'm going to give you an early prediction, I think we're going to win against Columbus. A lot of positive to take into the Club World Cup, but I think it's still not there yet. We need a lot of work to do.
Intimidate, suffocate, and overwhelm is the 3 words that you're looking for.
Yeah, dominate, vanquish, conquer. That's what I just said. Exactly that.
No, but it's the same idea. And I did think in the first half they were doing that, right?
To an extent.
It felt a little bit iffy because there was lots of injury. There was a couple injuries that kind of shook things up. So I don't know if I would say
Montreal was poor.
I agree with that. They didn't have much of a threat going forward. And so maybe that makes it look better because there was 1 or 2 moments where they got going the other way and it didn't feel dangerous, but maybe that had more to do with who Montreal was than what Miami was doing. But by the end, they certainly were suffocating them, right? Luis Suarez had like 5 steals in this game just by sort of being in the right position at the right time, and one turned into a goal. That's how it felt at the end of the game to me. Prefaced, it's Montreal, and I get that.
And we conceded 2 goals.
But Columbus didn't do this to them. And LAFC didn't do this to them. And Philadelphia didn't do this to them. So that's like I do want to give them credit for this. This is a good win.
Yeah.
Even considering the circumstances of who you're playing. But I can also understand someone that would think differently. And Luis says it's a very deceiving win against a team that in some other leagues would be a second-tier team. I don't think you can look at this as a negative from an Inter Miami perspective in any way.
I told you, right? It's slightly unfair. If you win this game, it's going to be like, oh, but it's Montreal, you have to win. And if you lose this game, the whole world is coming to an end. So it's slightly unfair. And honestly, Inter Miami's put themselves in this position where you can't necessarily celebrate your good wins right now, and for good measure, right? So it's understandable, and I agree with both sentiments. I think there's credit to both. That yes, we put on a good performance, but also it was against a very poor Montreal team. So you have to take it with a pinch of salt. And the only way this will feel really good is if you go on and put on a good performance against Columbus as well. That's how then you can come back to this performance and be like, oh, that Montreal performance was really good because you backed it up with another good performance against Columbus.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning, it's something that I just totally flubbed. I have no idea what I was going to say. I apologize. 14 games since the streak started. 14 games Inter Miami has played. They've won 4 of them. One of them was that Columbus game where I thought they were significantly worse than Columbus, and they got away with it. Where they had one moment, they took advantage of it to score, and then they got lucky they didn't give up 4 going the other way. That was but aside from that, the other 3 wins, dominant, I thought, tonight against Montreal. They dominated the New York Red Bulls. And that LAFC game, which was awesome. But 3 really good performances out of 14. So maybe I take it back. Maybe I'm not quite ready to be back. I think we've put so much into these Columbus games over the last year and a half because of how good Columbus has been that maybe we'd be taking a little bit too much out of it. Yeah. Okay. So if they win on Saturday, how do you feel about the team?
No, a lot better. A lot better. There's a semblance of confidence coming up now that we're trying to put together performances. And if we win against Columbus, then at least we can say that there's something that we still have. There's life in this team. We're not just going to roll over and die. So long way to go. Even if we win against Columbus, I'm not going to be fully convinced, but the hope is starting to come back. The fires have started to re-emerge, and that's all I'm going to say to this.
Anton points out a moment in the first half where Messi had an opportunity to get Segovia open in the box, and instead he chooses a more difficult pass to Suarez. And I remember this play and thinking, what are we doing here? And it is a confidence moment. And so maybe that, part of that does make me think this team knew they were much better than Montreal. And you can sort of do tight things like that to try and get your guys going. It reminds me of when he would give penalties to Jose Martinez back in 2023. This was a get-right game. Did it work? That's the big question. Obviously, we won't know. Suarez has to be feeling better about himself. And that might be the difference, right?
A happy Suarez is a dangerous Suarez. So that's a really good place to be if you're an Inter Miami striker called Luis Suarez. And hopefully he can take this into Columbus and score a couple of really good goals.
Mistiano says, hot take, I don't like Segovia for this team. He lacks what the team needs. And Miami King says Segovia's best game of the season. Let's not talk about his performance in this game per se, but rather his role, because he's had a more free-flowing role in the midfield. I can understand someone that says he doesn't have the physicality, the range, the athleticism, the sort of body you often win second balls and steal balls from the opposition and make tackles that win you possession, things like that. He doesn't do that as a midfielder. And Diego Gomez, who I think he's the natural replacement for, did that. But in terms of running the midfield, I think he does an exceptional job if he actually gets on the ball and has space. And for the first time, I think we saw him, Messi, Suarez on the field together, and it looked nice, at least from Segovia's perspective.
I'll put it this way. If Messi is not on the pitch, Segovia would be the protagonist. Everything would be running through him. So I think there's definitely a position for him. And you can almost forgive the lack of physicality just by the way he connects everything together for this team when he's allowed to play more freely in the middle. I've always maintained this in the start of the season. My perfect midfield trio is Segovia, Sergio Busquets, and then Bright, who would provide you the defensive cover that Segovia might lack. and this midfield would dominate this league. Um, I think there's definitely a role for him, and today's performance was very good for me, and I liked what he brought to this, and I hope people can start to see that as well, because there's a player and a half there. Absolutely, there is.
Anton says Alan had a pass to his mom in the stands, which is pretty funny. Um, One of the things I love about the chat is they make me laugh almost the entire time we're doing this. Okay, let's get 10,000 feet. Inter Miami plays Columbus on Saturday. We've talked about that. But if Javier Mascherano is not fired the next day, he's going to be the coach through the Club World Cup. And I think that's what we're all expecting. But I do think we've seen now the beginnings of a feeling that he might not be the coach beyond that. So let's talk about the MLS season, because if he's like, is he going to get to a point on this weekend where the Club World Cup determines his fate? Because that feels unfair to me. That feels unfair to me.
I don't think we're going to get to a stage where the Club World Cup dictates his faith. I think he's going to string together a couple of good performances. If we win against Columbus, then the timeline for any potential sacking is extended way beyond. I think it's going to go on until the summer.
Yeah, and let me be clear. They can decide already. They could have already decided we're going to fire him at the end of the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
And then you just wait till they lose a game, and then you actually do it. And they might already have a replacement in mind. Like, all of those things may be happening in the background. And if it is, by the way, I applaud them, because this team has not always been organized enough to find another coach in the background without people paying attention. Like, that hasn't always been the seriousness of this club. So if that is the case, I'll give them some, CIA, MI6 credit for pulling that off. But that still feels real to me. Like, I still think whatever happens on Saturday, there's a chance that he is given the Club World Cup, but then that's sort of it, because they already know who they want. And another world where, like, Saturday could make the difference, in my opinion. If he loses, all of a sudden these past two games are sort of really easy to write off. And if he wins, all of a sudden you feel great. You got 7 points from 9, and I don't know how close they are to the top of the table, but you're sort of back into good vibes. And whatever happens in the Club World Cup, the expectations were low anyways. You get a fresh start and almost a month before your next MLS game. And then we are carrying it into the summer. So I guess there's no real update on Javier Mascherano from this game.
This game told us nothing. Nothing.
So with that in mind, is there anything else on your mind while I read through some of the last few chats to see if there's any interesting talking points?
No, let's get to the chat. Let them have the last word. And I'm just glad Inter Miami won tonight, because I'm going to sleep a happy man.
Do you feel any differently about how Inter Miami is going to perform in the Club World Cup after this performance?
No. We're going to lose all the games.
I don't think so either. That, like, this is Messi and Suarez have to do that if we're going to do anything. Like, that's
more
what
than
it is.
that. No, more than that. We're not going to be playing Montreal every day.
They're going to have to score 4 goals. We had a game against one of the Saudi clubs, and it was, I think the final score was 4-3, and they were really athletic, and it was really hard for our defense to keep up with them. But our offense was like scoring enough to keep us in the game. I think we tied it 3-3, and then they scored in the death or something like that. And that's, like, I think the best case scenario, we get something like that where maybe we have the final moment, but that would involve Suarez and Messi playing like this. And if they don't repeat this against Columbus, I'm not going to have confidence they're going to do that. So I don't know. It doesn't feel like much has changed, but a great win, and I think Inter Miami fans should feel good about it. Final thoughts, Saur.
We take it as we go, man. One game at a time, as I've always said since the start of 2 weeks ago. Game by game, you win a game, and you take it on to the next. None of this will matter if you lose to Columbus, so build on that. Glad we got some really confidence-boosting performances from across the pitch. Ustari having some good saves. Ian Frey, I thought, looked good. Darwin Martinez looked very saucy, as the word that you've used. Segovia, Redondo having a good game. Sergio Busquets being an absolute menace in that midfield for Montreal. And then Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi turning back the clock a little bit. Overall, fantastic. Lots of positives, some perhaps question marks. But again, this game doesn't tell us anything about what's going to happen in the future. So hopefully we can feel even more confident about this after we beat Columbus on the weekend. And then the Club World Cup. So lots of games coming forth. Keep with us, guys. Keep joining us in the chat. It's always a pleasure to listen to everyone's thoughts. And that's all I'm going to say for tonight. Over to you. Take us away.
Last question, I guess, before we actually wrap it up, because this always happens. There's always a question or two that comes at the end. Luis says, so if you guys could predict which two players will be added for the Club World Cup, whom do you think those two will be? Listen, the first we've heard of anything was this Brian Rodriguez story today. And I'm not 1,000% sure they're going to add anyone, because sometimes it is hard to get a deal done in a week or whatever. And the window is only 10 days. So hopefully they add Yannick Bright and Jordi Alba and
Baltasar Rodriguez. I've heard of that name for a while. Don't know if he's an actual player or not, but I've heard he's a very good prospect.
Have you heard he's a very good prospect?
I have heard he's a very good
or that he is a prospect.
He is a prospect.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back tomorrow, potentially, and to do a full game recap. And if not, then the next day. And we'll talk about, hopefully there'll be some updates on this Jardine story and maybe Brian Rodriguez and some other players. And we'll talk about that too. So I hope you guys join us then. But until then, enjoy the win, enjoy the night, get some good sleep. And we'll see you guys next time. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Since our first viewer, sharing this with you all has been the very best part. So from the beginning until the end, thank you for being a part of this and have a wonderful day.